like him or hate him, you got to give Trump credit, because Trump in 2015 talked about the problems related to illegal immigration some 9-10 years ago, before he started running for office. And when he said places like Mexico and the like, they're not sending their best. Sure, some of them are good people, but they're not sending their best. And that means that it's led to an onslaught and a rise in illegal immigration into the country, and all the problems that go with people that have already broken the law right from the word go. And so it was a big topic of conversation at the State of the Union, and is in one of the most important topics this year on the ballot. Let's go back to the State of the Union and talk a little bit about this whole illegal immigration subject. Let's take a look.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal.
President Biden might have been thinking about football. Of course, Lincoln Riley's the head coach of the USC Trojans. Now some pushback from a progressive member of the squad, Ilhan Omar, posting on X, "Let me be clear, no human being is illegal." That word didn't seem to bother former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who gave Biden a sitting ovation.
We usually say undocumented. He said illegal. I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay.
I don't think it's a big deal.
But more broadly,
because I think his focus was on the sympathy for the families. I think what he did was spectacular. He did it with vigor. He did it with vision, with patriotism, and I think it was one of the finest State of the Union addresses I have seen, and I've seen many.
Boy, it ain't a lie if you believe it there, Nance. Well, I gotta tell you, if it was Trump that said, and again, I'm just calling balls and strikes, okay? I try to call it right down the middle, the way I see it. So Biden says illegal, and of course Nance is just kind of like passing it off. We like to say undocumented, but I don't really see what the big deal is. Really? Kind of goes against and does not square to the administration's own position of the word illegal as it relates to folks coming across the border illegally. Let's take a look. Yeah, they can't make up their own mind. And of course, she could have just went right against him and said he shouldn't have said that, because, but then again, that's what he thinks. So you actually heard what Biden thinks. He didn't. It was a Freudian slip. It was what he really believes. These people are illegal. And it's not that the person's illegal. You know, somebody who's playing for the New York Knicks, they're a Knick. If you're playing for the Celtics, you're a Celtic, right? If you play for the Bulls, you're a Bull, right? So the people coming across the border are illegals. We call them illegals. An illegal alien. They have migrated across the border illegally, in short, and illegally, okay? Their existence is not illegal. Their conduct is illegal, right from the word go. Now, the one thing about a lot of these folks, like I said, just keep it 100, okay? Call it down the middle. She should have called him out. She should have said he shouldn't have said that that was wrong. Instead, she ran interference. But none of that surprises me about Nancy Pelosi, because this is the same person when Trump was in office giving the State of the Union. I'll just show you.
The nation tonight, just short of about an hour and a half, as we watch the interaction here. It comes in the middle of a huge week for the president as he hits his highest approval ratings in Gallup today.
Let me just interrupt. Did you just see how Speaker Nancy Pelosi ripped up the speech right behind the president as he's still there?
I missed that moment as he was. Oh, wow.
You remember that? Now, I'm sure Mike Johnson sitting behind Biden, who was listening to Biden just drone on and of course make up things all along the way. Nobody's going off on him because the legacy media's got to get his back. Talk about what a fiery speech. He was on fire, Joe Biden. He was the best. It was the best speech of Teddy Roosevelt. My God, it was like a fireside chat. It was the most divisive speech you could ever hear on the floor. But of course, they just said it was the best speech that was ever given in there. I'm sure Mike Johnson several times, who sat behind Biden the entire time, mind you, he kind of shook his head a little bit. How he's hiding a lot of his facial expressions, I have no idea. But he certainly didn't get up and rip the speech up. But that's the one thing about the left. They are brutal. They are tough. They stick together. And they have ferocity. And that's what wins elections. Because they're not afraid to do stuff like that. Rip up a State of the Union speech. And of course, nothing happened. It's property of the government, that speech. But nothing happens. Which is why people complain about there being two tiers of justice. Okay? The laws are for thee, but they don't apply to me for some reason. God help us all.